Welcome back guys to the PvP build on my Stamina Arcanist with a disgusting build this time, starting off with the Master's Duet, which converts raining slashes into a really strong spammable and keeps still the powerful damage over time effect with a 30% snare on top. Alternative, the other morph Blood Craze also works. It adds an extra healing cost of less initial damage, no guaranteed hemorrhaging status effect, and a 30% snare is missing too. Only recommended if you struggle with survivability, otherwise raining slashes is the way to go. Next up is our 5 set piece, craftable one called Dragon's Appetite. Basic empowers every single attack, so direct attacks, damage over time, ground based AoEs, etc. In my opinion only worth though if you have multiple damage sources, always a banger in combination with the Master's Duet and Raining Slashes, since it hits multiple times with one cast and procs the beat status effect hemorrhaging. Another option for slightly more damage would be the dungeon set Dragon Script, but it will also reduce your healing by flat 10%, way more risky, only recommended with no survivability issues, for example in an organized group or on a really strong healing based class / setup. As mod set Magsorc, which procs with a melee heavy attack, no fully charged heavy attack needed, a simple one also called medium attack is enough to proc a nasty disease damage over time with a high tooltip, perfectly made for this kind of setup. Make sure to use Magsorc. Although it will be harder to survive without a tanky monster set, so swap to Bloodspawn if you feed too squishy. It will give you extra armor and ulti regen. Saint and Seducer is mythic item. It provides a ton of major buffs and also afflicts minor debuffs. Second best choice would be Deathios Feet for extra HP, Magicka and stamina. Third best option, Sea Serpent's Coil for major berserk and courage, but in cost of 40% movement speed. Extremely hard to survive solo in open world situations with this movement speed penalty, more recommended in duels. Fourth best option would be simply 120 piece for the extra HP and this filler 220 pieces for extra HP and Magicka. Last but not least, the Vatesh Nice stuff for another extra dot, proccable with elemental susceptibility with a range of 15 meters, so make sure to be close to your opponent or you will lose the tethered proc damage. Armor types 1 heavy chest, 3 light, 3 medium, with 2 well fitted, 1 sturdy, 3 impen, and always make sure to use a heavy armor chest in reinforced, will give you the most amount of armor. Full prismatic glyphs would be best in slot. If they're too expensive, just use prismatic glyphs on the big pieces, so chest, head and legs. The rest max stamina. Full infuse on a jewelry for the extra weapon and spell damage. Full weapon and spell damage glyphs. No recovery needed. With Dragon's Appetite we gain 2 stamina recovery bonuses. If you have some sustain issues you can still use a prismatic regen glyph here, just to make sure, and also for battlegrounds for example. Front butt 2 maces for the extra penetration, Nirn Sharpened, Flame Poison Chant. Second best choice would be 2 swords for the extra weapon damage. Third best option would be axes for crit damage. Backed by an ice staff in defending for the extra armor, with the Escapist Poison for CC immunity, best poisons in the game in my opinion. First skill, Recuperative Treatise. Our weapon damage buff also generates crux if we have none and gives a good amount of magic and stamina back every 5 seconds. The other morph, Inspired Scholarship, ticks every 3 seconds with overall slightly more damage but without the recovery. Next up, the Dual Scribing skill, Dazing Knife with the stun focus script, so in this case is a CC. As signature script, make sure to use Assassin's Misery. It will increase the status effect proc chance by 100%, really strong on the setup since we have access to all status effects. Minor vulnerability is FX script for 5% more damage. The Arcanist stun at duration is a good option too if you do not have access to the scribing skill line, so don't worry about that. As spammable Raining Slashes like I said before, or Blood Craze works too. Flail, the stamina morph, definitely this morph. It creates crux, immobilizes and heals if the enemy is hit, way better than Tentacular Dread, the Magicka morph, which consumes crux to empower the Abyss Link debuff. Not recommended since we need those crux to empower our burst heal. Karma and Tamani slotted for 12%. Crit rate, Major Savagery, delivers also minor berserk 5% more damage after dealing critical damage from an enemy's flank, and I sometimes actively use it to detect cloaked opponents. The damage ultimate, Dawnbreaker, thanks to the fighter skill passive Slayer, we get even 6% weapon damage for free with Karma Hunter and DB. Alternative, the dual ultimates Rend or Thrive in Chaos are really strong too in 1-on-1 situations, but Dawnbreaker is just a safer option in open world scenarios. Backed by Illusas for Major Breach, 6 skill penetration, and the 3 status effects Burning, Chilled and Concussion. Race Against Time as snare removable also provides minor force, 10% crit damage, and Major Expedition, 30% movement speed, a must-have for every 1vx player. Alternative Blood Mist as a dash ability but no snare removable for those without the Psychic skill line is the second best option. Resolve Vigor, powerful healing over time, which also provides minor Resolve 3k armor, so around 4% damage mitigation. Next up, our Strong Shield / Burst Heal, Impervious Rune Ward. It's basically 1 second immortality with a strong heal based on how many Crux are up. That's why we need Flail and not Tentacular Dread to empower Runewood's Burst Heal more often. Crux Weaver Armor as resistance buff for Major Resolve, 6k armor, plus Minor Breach, 3k pen, and even generates Crux on top. Defense Ultimate, Sanctum of the Abyssal Sea, a game changer, can literally save your ass. If you're under pressure, it absorbs a ton of damage. Race Stammer, my favorite hybrid race, gives almost 2k Magicka and stamina and over 250 weapon damage plus defile resistance. For something more tanky, go with Nord, will give you extra armor and HP, or Imperial for cost reduction and the extra HP, but in cost of damage and Magicka of course. Mundus the Serpent for stamina recovery. In group play, Warrior or Lover should be possible if you need extra damage. Buffwood also with Smoked Behind, best in slot for the extra stamina recovery and Magicka recovery plus the HP bonus. If you can't afford it, the cheaper version, Judes of Misrule, is the second best option. Basically the same with slightly less stats and without the HP recovery, which doesn't matter because we are vampire of course. For the passive Undeath, you know the deal, up to 15% damage mitigation in cost of sustain. But still worth the use, sustain is nowadays not a big deal anymore. Attribute points 41 into HP, the rest in stamina. But keep in mind, I do not have the Undaunted passive, Undaunted Metal, so just the attribute points yourself. Make sure to be at least over 30k HP with minimum 20k stamina and you're Gucci to go. Potion, 2 different one. The main potion will be always the Tricep potion, needed on basically every setup for the extra Magicka and stamina recovery, but in some cases with annoying angles around, I use a second potion, the Detection potion, with Stealth Detection, CC Immunity and Magicka. These are so good, especially against XP1 gankers. Basic CPs with Deadly Aim and Rawful Strikes for damage, and do a rebuff, Ironclad for mitigation, Red CP Sustained by Suffering, Pale's Refuge, Celebrity and Survival Instincts. Rotation. First of all, make sure to always keep up 3 ties, resistance buff, Race Against Time and Vigor. Obviously if you're under pressure, use Rune Lord. Then start with Elisas, but make sure to be in range of the Veteran Ice stuff, so 15 meters at least. So Elisas, Dazing Knife, Grinding Slashes, fail into medium attack, into Dawnbreaker, followed by Grinding Slash spam. Just make sure to not use Magsorc too early, in best case in the end, since it gets empowered by each negative effect by 10%, right? The more negative effects you have on your opponent, the better and the stronger the Magsorc proc gets. The damage of this setup is out of this world. The amount of dot pressure you'll have is insane. But it's not made for 1vx players. But who am I talking to? Let's be honest here, there's maybe only a handful real 1vx players left. The point is, this build is more made for duels, small scale, battleground, that kind of stuff. Maybe 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3 at maximum, but not against bigger groups. Way too squishy, not recommended. For now, enjoy the gameplay footage. Some of it is made in Greyhouse prime time, so sorry for the lag. Should be still fine. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.